Well, hello. Shabbat Shalom. I'm here in the office just for a little bit as I prepare for Shabbat. In particular, I want to do a little bit more looking into the Torah portion for the week. It's a double portion called Tazria Mitzorah. And if Tazria Mitzorah sounds familiar, it's because it's the portion, or actually the double portion, in the book of Leviticus that describes all of the diseases and the contagions and the eruptions and the ways in which the ancients began to manage public health. The way in which they dealt with, much like we are dealing, with a scourge that entered the community and threatened all. And it is an opportunity for us to reflect not on the ancient practices so much, and not even on the ways in which those ancient practices had been interpreted over the centuries. For a long time, our sages suggested that insofar as we do not suffer that contagion any longer, we still suffer the contagion of gossip, of Lashon Hara, of the way in which an evil word or misspoken speech can spread rapidly. And we know in this age of disinformation and fake news how pernicious that really can be. But this year, Tazria Mitzorah echoes with a very different resonance, because we find ourselves in the midst of an epidemic, a pandemic, in fact, that now blankets the entire globe. And as we consider the ways in which we are caring for ourselves and for one another, as we are managing the issues of public health and our own sense of safety and integrity, the words of Tazria Mitzorah come to us with full force. But I want to suggest that in addition to the dangers of COVID-19 and the coronavirus, there is a pre-existing condition that is only exacerbated by the latest outbreak, and that is the pandemic of loneliness. Much has been written about this of late, article upon article, chronicling that it's not only in older adults, but also in young people, that those over 18, 60% describe feeling some degree of loneliness. Folks in their 40s to 60s also suffer the same, and it's even greater for those who live alone or advanced in years, who no longer have someone who is living with them or who's looking in on them, or for whom transportation and mobility is compromised. This pre-existing condition, like all pre-existing conditions, serves to exacerbate and enhance the dangers that we all face. And so I want you, as we read Tazria Mitzorah this week, as we reflect on the weeks now ending, and the weeks ahead where we will continue to need to be vigilant about our own health and that of our neighbors, to appreciate the lessons in the ancient reading of Tazria Mitzorah. But beyond that, let me suggest that loneliness is an experience, as the Professor Paul Fussell from the University of Pennsylvania has written, loneliness is the one experience no one can lie about having experienced. It's true for all of us. And so let me suggest some readings or some words from the Dalai Lama, who suggests, we are all the same as human beings, and we experience the same fears, the same hopes, and the same uncertainties. The outbreak of this terrible coronavirus has shown what happens to one person and how one person can affect every other being. But it also reminds us that a compassionate or constructive act, whether working on the front lines to help others or just observing social distancing in our own respective homes, these have the potential to help many. Now we can see that nobody is immune to the disease. We can see that nobody is immune to this virus, and that we are all worried about loved ones and our futures, of both the global economy and our own individual homes. But prayer and thoughts are not enough. This crisis shows that we must all take responsibility wherever and howsoever we can. This pandemic serves as a warning that not only by coming together with a coordinated global response will we meet the unprecedented magnitude of the challenges we face, but we must also remember that nobody is free of suffering. This crisis shows us that we are not separate from one another, even when we are living apart. Therefore, we all have a responsibility to exercise compassion and to help and to reach out and be a friend to one another. Kol Yisrael Aravim Zeh B'Zeh. All of Israel, every Jew is responsible for every other and for our world entire. And so I close with this. Everyone needs to accept responsibility for not only our own circle of friends and family and colleagues, but for our wider community. For we each hold the health of all of our neighbors in our hands. Shabbat Shalom.